Hello everyone, today I am going to review A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. The cost of the paperback is Rs 500. Khaled Hosseini is an Afghan-American novelist and physician. After graduating from college, he worked as a doctor in California. He has published 3 novels which are least partially set in Afghanistan and the protagonists are Afghan. The main characters of the book are Maryam, Rashid, Laila and Tariq. The story is divided into 4 parts. First part deals with Maryam's life, second part deals with Laila's life, third life deals with both of their lives together, and the fourth part, the final part, deals with Laila's life and how she moves on. In the first part, Maryam is shown to be the illegitimate child of Nana and Jalil Khan. She lives in Kolba with her mother, and her father comes to meet her every Thursday to teach her about things, to tell the news about the city, and to play with her and do fishing with her. She loves to spend time with him. Every week she waits for Thursday so that she could meet him. There is one more important character in Maryam's life, Mullah Fazullah, who's her teacher and also her best friend. Everything seems to be good in her life until one day she decides to go against Nana's decision and Nana commits suicide. From then, everything goes downhill for her and Maryam's life is ruined in the worst way it could. Due to her mother's death, she goes to live with Jalil, who then gets her married to Rashid, a guy who's much older than her. After the marriage, she compromises with her life and starts a new journey with Rashid. She starts living happily again, only to find that destiny has its own plans. She loses her child, gets a miscarriage, and then again things go downhill for her, and her dream life is broken into pieces. In the second part, Laila is shown to be Hakim's and Fariba's daughter. Her family lives happily until one day, Laila's brothers leave for war and Fariba, her mother, starts living in despair. Her father has been a university professor and encourages her to study and tells her to lead a good life. She spends her time with her friends and her childhood best friend Tariq. Slowly, Tariq and Laila start developing feelings for each other, and then Tariq confesses his love for Laila and they start a new relationship. Meanwhile, the situation of the war gets worse and Tariq informs Laila that he is leaving for Pakistan with his family. Laila, who's distressed, now decides to get the most of him and they take their relationship to the next level. And then Tariq leaves for Pakistan. He asks her to come with him and to get married, but she denies. After some days, her family also decides to leave for Pakistan and they start preparing for their flee. But then a tragedy occurs which kills her parents and leaves Laila all alone. Her happiness is shattered, her dreams, her plannings, everything gets ruined because of that one attack on her house. In the third part, Laila is shown to be rescued by Rashid and Rashid pays for all of her expenses and the medicines. Rashid then proposes Laila for marriage. This makes Maryam angry, sad, and she feels cheated. She also fights with Rashid, who then replies really in a calm tone that it's not a big deal. People have 3 or 4 wives and whatever he's doing is justified and he should be given a medal because he's helping her. Meanwhile, Laila finds out that she is pregnant with Tariq's child and agrees to marry him, only to have a secure future for her child and to save the last gift of Tariq given to her by him. Rashid and Laila get married and Maryam starts hating Laila and doesn't talk to her. She behaves with her rudely. Laila gives birth to a baby girl, which disappoints Rashid, who thought that he will get a boy as he thinks that the baby is his. Things start changing between Laila and Maryam and then they develop a bond so pure and so beautiful and so strong, just like a mother and a daughter. Later on, Leila gives birth to one more child, Zalmai, who's a boy, which makes Rashid really happy. Things that seem to be good actually get worse because of the war. The situation of war gets worse day by day, and they start living their lives in misery, due to which they have to leave Aziza in an orphanage for some time. Then one day, Leila finds a ray of hope. She finds her wishes come true, and finally, she gets her old love back. Rashid comes to know about all of this and starts beating Leila and Mariam. Mariam, in order to save Leila, takes a drastic step, which eventually changes her life but gives her a sense of self respect, and which relaxes her and satisfies her that she finally stood up for the right thing after so many years of suffering. This scene has a different vibe. You can't hate Mariam for what she did, and this gives a sense of empowerment to all the women who suffer in silence. She asks Leila to flee from Afghanistan, and then Mariam gets arrested and gets a death penalty for what she did. In the fourth part, Leila starts a new life with her husband and her children. They live happily, and then Leila decides to go back to Afghanistan. She talks to her husband about this, who then agrees to her. They come back to Kabul and start a new life and help the children and people in distress. The book is something that has so many miseries, like so many sad things, tragedies, but you will be stuck to it. It amuses in each and everything that happens. The writer has written it so beautifully that you can't control yourself from reading it. It is a whole roller coaster ride of emotions. The book deals with so many personalities, and each of the personality has a different story. The whole story shows how people of Afghanistan lost their land and how they struggled, whatever happened, how it happened, why it happened, and how people are living now, how much they are suffering. I never knew anything till this depth until I read this book, and now that I know it, it blows my mind how people are living, whatever happened, how things changed. We think that our lives are just full of miseries. A small thing happens and we become distressed. After reading this book, I came to know that it's nothing what we face. What the people in Afghanistan are facing is just beyond imagination. Well, now the question comes, why I read it. One of my friends suggested me that you should read this book, and then I thought, okay, I should give it a shot, because I read about it so many times on social media. On if I looked for the best books available, then this book was surely in the list. So I thought, why not to read it? And then it came out as the best decision of my life, right? I hope I convinced you enough with the storyline, but in case you are not convinced, well, you should read it to realize how privileged you are, whatever you have in your life, and it actually makes us more sensitive to the issues happening in the world. As I said earlier, this book has so many personalities of different shades. You will come to know more about human emotions, and then you will start understanding basically things with a better perspective and a different opinion. Ratings are definitely 5 out of 5. 1 star for the storyline, 1 star for the narration, 1 star for the characters, 1 star for explaining the story, and 1 star for the dialogues. The dialogues are really beautiful in the book. The book link is given in the description. Get your copy as soon as possible. It's a thick book, it will take time, but trust me, it's worth your time. It's worth reading. Read it once, please. So, today's video ends here. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, so please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends, especially with your bookworm friends.